Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Good Monday morning to you, the 28th of September, as we welcome in Spencer Hughes. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Had a nice restful weekend. How about you?
Good. Busy. I was building woodworking projects for my mom on Saturday, and then a new sign for the garage on Sunday. And it's just kind of fun to take, disparate pieces of wood, and at the end of a day, you look back and there's something there that you've built, and
I saw that. Fun. I saw the pictures. It's pretty incredible. I didn't realize you were so handy with, I've seen some of your projects, but that was very impressive.
Thanks. I didn't realize I was that handy either. Today on the show, we got great guest Jamie Mell in for some riveting radio real estate holdover from Friday. Also, local news, more information. We'll check in on that exciting Seahawks game as well today. But what are we looking like to start the week with the weather?
Well, no rain for sure anywhere in the next 7 to 10 days, it looks like. We might get a few stray surprises along the way, but a high of 77 today, and it'll be a little cloudy, a little foggy early on, so be careful, but it'll be mostly sunny by later today.
Well, Mason County Public Health notified Friday 4 additional Mason County residents that tested positive for COVID-19. Total remains now at 415. This is due to reconciling 4 previous cases that were transferred to other counties. Case demographics updated, Mason County performing investigations and contact tracing, and please help do what you can to limit and reduce the spread of COVID-19.
Well, it's not my imagination. The last couple of times at the pump, the prices seem to be cheaper, and they are. Washington gas prices have fallen 2.6 cents per gallon in the past week, averaging $2.72 a gallon, according to Gas Buddy's daily survey of 2,666 stations. Gas prices in Washington are 5.7 cents per gallon lower than a month ago. The lowest price in the state today is $2.15 a gallon, while the highest is $3.37 a gallon, a difference of $1.22. The national average price of gasoline has fallen 0.9 cents per gallon in the last week, averaging $2.17 a gallon.
Are you noticing that you're paying as close attention to the gas prices these days as you're assuming that we're all driving a lot less than we used to? And I think when we were driving more, you would look for those couple cents here, couple cents there to help. But if you're waiting, weeks now before filling up, do you really look at the cheapest, or do you go to the closest one, do you think?
I'm still one of those frugal ones when it comes to gas. I tend to go to the same ones because they do tend to be the lesser priced ones. But I know what you mean. It seems like you put $20 in or something, and it lasts you like the whole week, and before that would last you maybe a couple of days.
Yeah, just interesting to think about that. Obviously you want to save money where you can, but I wonder if it's as intense as it is when everybody's on the road and driving here and there. There's still very many folks out there working remotely, and that's likely going to be the case in the majority of, I think, jobs that have that capability.
Yeah, that would be a great survey question. I haven't seen anybody ask that. Now that if you're driving less, how much do you, worry about the price of gas?
Yeah, and how much less, and what have you think your savings have been realized? Big day tomorrow. Tomorrow night, it'll be the first of the 3 presidential debates. We'll also have the vice presidential debate as well. So Vice President Biden, President Trump are going to be in Cleveland tomorrow night. We'll have coverage beginning at 5 for you here on the radio. The debate in earnest starts at 6, and Chris Wallace from Fox News will be the moderator this time. The next debate will be on the 7th of October, and then it'll be the vice presidential debate, and all of them can be heard here on the radio.
The Center for Whale Research has confirmed that another baby orca has been born to a pod of endangered southern resident orcas that frequent Puget Sound. It's the second calf born this month for J-Pod. not J-Lo, J-Pod, according to director Ken Balcom, who confirmed the birth in a text message to the Seattle Times on Friday. He says the mother is a whale known as J41. J35, the orca also known as Tahlequah, gave birth to a male calf on September 4th. Mother and baby were seen this week romping and feeding. Tahlequah raised worldwide concern in 2018 when her calf died shortly after birth, and she carried it for 17 days and more than 1,000 miles, and it made global news. Everybody around the world was mourning along with her. That was just a really sad video that we all watched, but some good news there for the J-Pod.
Just a couple days left to recognize those in our community that have gone above and beyond in the past year. This is with the Chamber's annual awards and nominations. End of the month, the 30th at 5 p.m. will be the closure of this deadline. Community, you are invited to make nominations at masonchamber.com for Business of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Boss of the Year, Citizen of the Year, and Community Supporter of the Year.
Landlords are going to courts around the country claiming that a national eviction moratorium unfairly strains their finances and infringes on their rights as property owners. At least 25 such lawsuits have been filed, including federal challenges of President Donald Trump's directive halting evictions for many renters through the year's end. In Memphis, Tennessee, 7 landlords who manage or own more than 5,000 rental units filed a sweeping complaint this month. The Centers for Disease Control imposed the eviction ban in its capacity to protect public health, calling it an effective measure against the spread of coronavirus among people who could be left homeless.
And as we kind of look ahead to sports here, first things first, Saturday we had our first Cougar coverage of the day. It was 2 hours of Cougar football and Cougar sports news, and then a few hours of collegiate football from around the country. Pac-12 has set a November 6th start date for a 7-game football season, and if the Cougs line up there on the gridiron, we'll have those games for you on AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Yesterday, a exciting game, heard here on the radio. DK Metcalf made up for a huge first-half blunder by catching a 29-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. And the Seahawks held off the Dallas Cowboys 38-31.
Moore to the right side. Metcalf and Lockett to the left side. Again, a 4-man rush. Russell looks, sets, has time. Going to throw to the end zone. Lock. It's DK. He makes the catch. Touchdown, Seahawks. I couldn't see him for a second, and suddenly he flashes in the end zone, and it's DK Metcalf, and he, in fact, makes up for the play earlier. And it's only fitting, isn't it, that he's the guy who comes up with the big reception, the touchdown with 1:47 left to play.
Wilson threw 5 touchdown passes, setting an NFL record for most touchdown passes in the first 3 games of a season with 14. Seahawks continue on here on AM 1030 and FM 103.3, presented by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation, Riviera's Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. Monday morning here on Daybreak, when we come back, more fun conversations. Jamie Mell on the air today as well. It's all here on Daybreak, and good morning to you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. Time to find out what's going on in the real estate market. And from John L. Scott in Shelton, it's the managing broker and owner, Jamie Mell. How are you?
Good. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good to see you in studio. Kind of a bit of a change here.
It's very nice.
For us here, but making the accommodations and doing the distancing. Today's show, I thought we could talk a little bit about what folks look at externally when it comes to buying a home. You know, you see on the different websites that they'll have like a school score or a traffic score or things like that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, your house is very important, but a lot of those things can just make living more comfortable.
Definitely. We always want to be encouraging our clients to be looking outside of just the home. Obviously, we want to make sure it's meeting their standards as far as bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, that type of thing. But definitely encouraging them to look into things like the schools. Whether or not they have a family, it could potentially reflect on the resale value later.
Sure.
So taking a look at the local school districts and You can do that by looking at the actual school district website, going to the state website, and checking out the most recent scores that they have and that type of thing.
When a potential buyer comes to you and John L. Scott in Shelton, what are some of the things that you provide them with on the lines of this?
Well, we have these packets that we put together that have local maps talking about, parks. We're right here at the foothills of Olympic National Park, so we have that stuff. A lot of the things that we receive them from the chamber locally and then put them in a packet and hand them out and just have that conversation about what Shelton, Mason County is all about. And that's probably my favorite topic to talk about with clients, especially if they're coming in from another area. I just love this area in Shelton, so we have a lot of really great things happening.
What do you understand to be, and I know rural versus urban, there'll be a difference, but drive times, drivability, how much is somebody willing to drive out of their area to get to their work or something like that?
So actually, I was looking at some stats.
You have this right here?
I do. So I have 52% of buyers say that is an extremely important part of buying their home is that commute to work or school. So, we don't have that too much, but we're getting a lot more people moving in from King County, Pierce County, Kitsap County to live rural, and then they're traveling. So helping them with that, there's a million different apps that we can be using to help them come up with what their average commute time might be.
So what do they think about when it comes to that? I mean, if you're living closer to your business, you may pay more in the price of a home. Mm-hmm. But if you live further out, then you'll be paying a little more annually in the price of gas and car maintenance.
Car maintenance, and really kind of calculating your time because you're going to be sitting behind the wheel. But as we know with COVID, the option to work at home is becoming so much more popular, and it's an actual legit option for people. Yeah. So
I remember, it had to have been maybe June, March, April, May, June, as we were starting to understand that maybe folks will be working remotely as moving forward. And I had thought to myself that will really benefit Mason County in the sense that if industry, and especially high-paying tech jobs, say you can work anywhere as long as you have good internet. Mm-hmm. Mason County is blessed to be on the path to providing a lot of fiber access across the whole county. And so these folks can find and have a great life here in Mason County.
Right here. Yeah. The other thing that people want to know, restaurants, what kind of parks we have, those different types of amenities that we have. And the biggest one that I think I'm very excited about and talking a lot about is the YMCA that's coming. So Mason County, even though we're rural, we're getting a lot of new amenities to our community.
A lot of times, too, people think and they go, well, you got to make sure that if a CEO wants to move here, one of the big conversations that the CEO will have is with the family.
Yes.
And whether or not that family is going to be able to thrive in a life that they may not be used to in a more rural setting. So you have to have all those kind of conversations too.
Exactly.
Show off again the schools perhaps. And
we're a bedroom community. It's a quick, easy commute to Olympia. You need to get to Tacoma depending on the time of day. Even Seattle, between Highway 16, the ferries, we're centrally located, and I think we have some just great opportunities here to be buying and settling into our community.
Is that going to really kind of elevate the prices across? We talk about the Seattle down to Tacoma, then to Olympia. Now they're in Shelton.
Yep.
So will that down the road cause a lot of the properties here to go up in value?
I think that it's going to be a natural flow because of the want and the different inventory levels that we have right now. So if we're selling these homes that are in the 350 to 500 range, then it's going to be supply and demand. So it is going to eventually drive up some prices. I don't know that it's going to just be, huge. I mean, right now we're at such a low inventory level on just working force housing that it's created an issue there. So we need lower end homes for the working force so we can get families in comfortable and not, living out of their means.
Yeah. Are there conversations as the managing broker owner there of John L. Scott in Shelton? Are you hearing those kind of conversations around within city government, county government, that those types of house availabilities may be coming soon, or do you think we're still kind of waiting on projects to come to fruition?
We're waiting on projects. Yeah, there's no big developments happening right now. There's onesie twosies. I mean, I have a lot of personal friends and acquaintances that are all building right now because they can't get what they want. And they got in ahead of the market and were able to buy like vacant land. And now they're doing that. So that's a huge thing that we're seeing right now. Vacant land now, you're having a problem trying to find buildable lots for that as well.
Well, an easier way to find that vacant land is by heading to the John L. Scott website.
Yes.
And calling Jamie or any of the great brokers they have there. What's the phone number?
360-426-3319.
We'll put the links in the show notes, and good to see you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Well, good morning, everybody. Once again, it's Monday here as we get ready to wrap up the month of September. Good morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning to you. How you doing?
Doing well. I was, as we said, working on a lot of woodworking projects over the weekend. So when that happens, I have the station on, streamed in the garage or on the radio in the garage, listening to the programming. And I'm up early working. And so your show was on yesterday. I was listening to it. It's sounding good, of course. But your topic on stress and burnout was pretty fascinating, and it came from a Huffington Post article, The Differences Between Stress and Burnout by Kelly Borison. And I just thought it was pretty fascinating. I mean, between you, me, and the microphone, there have been times in the last few months where I've felt at least the thought of stress, but it appears as though maybe it could have been some burnout, and it's important to recognize these things.
Yeah, absolutely. They talk about, this article is great because it breaks down like regular stress, like stress is every day, some type of stress over a bill, stress over work meeting, stress over an assignment that's due for your kid the next day and you guys haven't started or something like that. That's your average stress that everybody feels, but it's usually short term. It passes until the next stress comes along. But burnout's more prolonged, where you just have more indications that it's longer term, like you're losing sleep. You have a dread of going to work, which a lot of people have they're calling it the Sunday scaries. That's one of the names for it, where people start dreading Monday morning, late Saturday into Sunday. They can't even enjoy their weekend because they're so stressed out about what's coming for the coming week. So that could be a sign of burnout.
Some of the other ones with us at the station, just you and me for a long time until recently with that Rod's coming in. It's been hard to kind of at times, see the forest through the trees here. It's hard to look at the big picture when you hear the same sets of pieces of news information every day. And that's what we're here to do, is to provide the information. But it is important, too, to spend some time and focus on these types of things to share with folks. So one of the things that I thought was interesting is you talked about not imploring your boss, but talking with your boss or supervisor about, and it could seem a little counterintuitive, but adding another project to your plate, but this project is something that you find meaning in. And by having a little bit of time for a project like that can reinvigorate you.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of just doing kind of the mundane day-to-day stuff, ask to get involved with something that maybe really ignites your senses and your passions in your particular line of work. Maybe something that needs to get done anyway, but maybe you're good at it, or it's your field of expertise or something. And It's a good idea. By the way, I would need to talk to you after the show today. I'm just kidding.
Oh, the other thing, too, is that I know there's a lot of great business in Shelton and Mason County in our listening area where a lot of the workload for some of the employees is volunteering in the community. So it's known or expected that a portion of your time should be used for give back to the community. And that's a great way to kind of look for meaning, find commonalities with other people, and do some things that make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's if you can do something altruistic, that's great. But even if it's just self-care, some salons are starting to open up, barbershops and stuff. Just kind of maybe treat yourself to something like that, or go to your favorite place for lunch that might not have been open a few weeks back. Just do something to kind of alleviate the stresses and be nice to yourself, reward yourself with something like that.
Yeah, be nice to yourself for sure. And then I guess, too, if the situation does not improve, what you were talking about is that maybe it's time for that hard decision on finding a new line of work, and maybe even just sprucing up your resume or looking out there at what's out there will help you refocus and say, like every job, you said this yesterday, like every job, even the one we have now, there are highs and lows and ups and downs and positives and negatives. But if you're out and looking to change your career in the middle of this pandemic, getting out there and looking may bring you back to your current profession and say, well, there are some things here that I could be doing to personally advance myself. I haven't been as vocal in this area of the business or things like that. That's kind of what you took away too?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you have your options. Either leave your job, which is scary as heck, but is always possible. People think like, I can't leave my job. You can, you just don't want to, or you feel like you can't, but you can. Nobody's physically tying you down, hopefully, to the desk and making you work. We got rid of that stuff a long, long time ago. So you have the freedom to move about, or your other option is to make your current job bearable and enjoyable. And I've had some fantastic jobs. I've had some not so great jobs. And at the not so great jobs, you just have to find something that you enjoy and that brings you into work every day, or you'll go crazy. So you just got to it's kind of, cliche, but make the best of what you got. But those are your options, really. Either make the best of what you got, or you're just going to complain every day, make yourself, your family, your coworkers miserable, and just burn out totally. So either find a new job or make the one you have work.
And so what have you found about the bleed over to if your business or professional life is wholly unbearable? What's the impact that you found on the personal life? Are people able to compartmentalize these things, or is there always going to be bleed over, and that kind of what you said, the Sunday scaries or the Saturday afternoon scaries, that really impacts your personal life?
Yeah, it does, especially if you have a family, anybody that lives with you, even just roommates. It's not fun for anybody because it does bleed over. Just like, your work doesn't want you to bring your personal problems to work, right? You leave them at the door. It's kind of the opposite. You want to leave your work at the door when you go home. But if you're burned out, if you're hating your job, you're hating, your work life, surveys show that like 80% of Americans hate their jobs or dislike their jobs. That's a huge number. And then to be able to leave that at the door is very difficult. It has to bleed over at some point to your personal life.
I wonder if there's something that people can do. You see when people break up with folks, they'll have like the burn pile. They'll take the old letters or whatever and burn them to kind of release the spirits. I wonder if there's something that you can do mentally or psychologically that sloughs off the stresses of your job. Like if you go to your front, is when you pull into your driveway at the end of your day, if you walk up to your front door and I don't know, you jump on the welcome mat 3 times. And that's supposed to release all of the work stressors before you walk through the door.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Kind of want, something like where, if you smile, if you're sad and they say smile and you won't be sad anymore, one of these kind of mental triggers to help turn off work and turn on home. I don't know.
Yeah, or a voodoo doll of your boss, but I don't have one of you. I just mean like past bosses.
What is... God, I just got this weird sharp pain in my neck.
That's the blow dart.
Ooh, now I got one in my lower back.
Oh, man.
All right. Good Monday morning to you. Great conversation here. The article again came from the Huffington Post, The Difference Between Stress and Burnout and How to Tell Which You Have. It was just posted a few days ago by Kelsey Borison. So you can do a quick Google search on that one. More Daybreak is coming up.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.